to do my August wrap-up and my September TBR. I kind of went through a little reading slump in August. I was sick for a week and I was traveling for another week, and I just really didn't feel like reading, but I did read a few, so let's talk about those books. The first one that I read in August was Selene by Peter Heller. I have talked about Peter Heller a lot on my channel because I really like his books. He writes very similar to Hemingway, and Hemingway is my favorite author, and he also lives in Colorado and writes all about Colorado, which I find really interesting since I'm from here. Not only did I get to read this book in August, I also got to meet Peter Heller, and I actually got his autograph in this book right here, which I was really excited about. He really is the nicest guy and extremely interesting. A lot of the stories that he writes about are actually true stories. I think really the only story that isn't based around his life is The Dog Stars, because that's more of a dystopian book, but he actually is a pilot, so that's where he got that from. If you haven't read any Peter Heller, I definitely recommend checking him out. He's a really great author. I'm going to post a little clip that I filmed of him reading this book.
Leaves spun in the wind, and how when a gust came through, it swept the old trees to a darker green, like the hands of a harpist lifting a somber note off the strings. And then in July, she got word that her older sister Bobby had a brain tumor. It was a flare-up of cancer, 5 years in remission. Selene went to Pennsylvania to visit to help, and there was not much to do as Bobby died within 3 weeks. It was almost as if the youngest sister's death had given the eldest sister permission to take the deep rest she had longed for.
Okay, then I picked up Hunger, a memoir of my body by Roxane Gay. I haven't read any Roxane Gay books except for this one, and I listened to this on audio and it was read by her. I really loved this book. I couldn't really relate to a lot of what she said because I think she's over 500 pounds and that's what the entire book is about. But it really was a great story and I think a lot of people need to read this. This is about Roxane being overweight and she was raped as a child, and it's her dealing with all of these problems. But like I said, I really recommend this book, and I gave this one 4 stars. Then I read Bird's Art Life, A Year of Observation. My mom had told me about this book, and I think that they did a little documentary on this, but this wasn't one of my favorites. I did think some of it was really interesting, but I really hate birds, and the entire book was about birds. I think I'm probably gonna like the documentary a lot more, but it was still a really interesting read, and I gave this one 3 stars. And the last book that I completed in August was Misery by Stephen King. This was on my TBR for the Stephen King readathon. I listened to this on audio, and I really loved the narrator for it. I was really surprised when I started it, and it was narrated by a woman, but I thought it fit really well. I thought the narrator sounded exactly like Kathy Bates, who plays the villain in this book. So I don't know if she was hired before or after the movie came out, but she was a perfect fit for it. I won't talk in detail about this because I will be doing a separate review on it. Keep an eye out for that. Now quickly on to the books that I would like to read in September. I'm going to continue reading Stephen King books. I am in the middle of The Shining by Stephen King. This was my most anticipated on my TBR just because it's my favorite horror movie. I'm about halfway through this, and again I'm going to be doing a review, so I won't talk in detail about this one either. I'm also going to pick up The Green Mile by Stephen King, which I have in these little 6 editions here. They are super short, and I think I can get through it pretty quick in this edition. I really didn't care for this movie, but I hope that I like the book more. Then I'm also in the middle of For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. I try reading an Ernest Hemingway every month, and I only read half of this last month, so I'm going to try and finish this month. And lastly, I want to pick up The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. This was my TBR jar pick for last month, and I didn't get around to reading it. It is a really short book, so I think I could probably get to it. Okay, so those are all the books that I plan on reading next month, and the books that I read in August. Let me know if you read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!